Thank you to go to Dad. I'm so sorry. I was late.
Yeah, I'm Nathan Price at PVA, Luke's friend. Surprisingly, yes, so many.
He's very snappy, isn't he? Snappy dresser.
Yeah, I'm just going to read a story, and I hope you like it. It's called The Trees. It's okay if you don't remember me. That's what my mother said before she died. She was kind like that. It was why we often took advantage of her, knowing that eventually she'd forgive us. We all did it, Dad included, Dad more than anyone. I should be able to tell you whether it was a Saturday or a Sunday, but I can't. I'm not sure it matters. There would have been a sweetness to it had it been on a Sunday, I think. A Christian woman being laid to rest on the Sabbath, but I don't remember that. Instead, everything had a stale openness to it. I didn't cry or grieve, I didn't see the point. Everyone else's hearts dripped from their eyes, but all I could do was look at the rows behind it. Headstones streaming on for could have been miles, slipping away in the fog. She told me I could forget her and I'd go and organise a damn funeral, made everyone break themselves on memories. Maybe it was best just to think of her as an idea, another headstone vanishing into the rest, vanishing again when the fog drew closer, and the frost hurried us out like helpless weather, with the rest indistinct. They wanted to remember her, of course, to torture themselves. You're supposed to when someone dies. Their death is your permission, if only a brief one. Too much grief, and you're quietly reminded that you need to move on. You have to be economic with the pain, and so I'd spent mine beforehand. I chose to bury her properly, in my mind and amongst the fog. She wouldn't have to be responsible for any more grief that way. The day became about everything else but itself after that. The food, the wine, the catching up, as it should be. We tried our best to ignore our past, but some memories touch those around them, so when they fester, they affect the others. Better just to solve them when you can. That kind of rot leaves you naked if it goes unchecked for too long, and I had no desire, none, to embarrass myself. I sat down our pasture with my dead mother and took another bite of the ham and egg sandwich I brought ahead of time. I could still bring up that cold, plastic taste of egg on my tongue. I guess it must have been a Saturday then, and an unremarkable one at that. Whenever I hold in my mind the events of that day, I always find myself drifting. There's my dad being there, with his two stepsons, exposing his regrets in the only way he knew how, which was to be there and not know what to do. There's a memory I have of the pair of us together, at opposite ends of his boat. We're just floating. He's probably cast a line, waiting patiently for the nothing of the day, but really, he's brought me out to see me. He's built it up in his head to the point where the notion eclipses any sense of reality, and merely looking at me, talking to me, ruins any illusion he has of our life. It's always been a quiet boat ride, and I'm always staring at the water. I can tell he wants to teach me how to fish, even though he knows I refuse to eat them. He stays quiet. Once I leave, his memories of me start to fill up as he sits alone in his shack, emptying out a bottle of bourbon. Forced conversations play out like he's seeing them from a distance. They put a smile on his face, the what could be, what will be next time, only they play out like he's deaf to his own family's voice. Something about his hat. Oh, sorry. The conversation is always smiles and muffled laughter, but he never remembers the joke. Something about his hat, he presumes. It's enough. He hates himself for it, but it's better than what he can have. Trips out past the bay were common for us. I didn't get to see him often. When I did, he always needed to fish. I always liked the smell of his gear with its slimy, fishy smell before I think of his empty fridge. Those trips came so often that each one drifts into the next, their edges smoothed over by the constant buffeting of the sea. The years I spent on the ocean become something of a teal-tinted blur, and if I'm being honest, I have to try to remember my father being there at all. I have to haul him back onto that boat, and not for the first time either. I can't get for thinking about that though. The only thought in my head is of the chains that marry boats to the bottom of the sea. Anchors, lodged in shifting sands, collecting time in unseen depths. They must rust and decay, each link a feeble connection to the boats above. How many anchors must be lost underneath, forgotten and no less present? Never have I thought about that and not felt someone has fallen on top of me. It's silly, and so I think of something sillier, as my eye catches the other boats bobbing along the horizon. I've been thinking more about my time at Zacharias recently, a primary school I worked at for a few years and the place that I met Stephen. I suppose this is all about Stephen in a way, all these memories. Perhaps that was what started me thinking about a funeral again. I find it hard to imagine him drinking with my dad, tidying over the week in polite conversation with the man who left and went and got himself a new child, a stepson. I digress. Painful memories seem to hold more weight than the rest. They sink further, but they have a gravity all of their own. I do what I can to ignore the pull. Sandwiches, fish, anchors, that's what I look for. Those are my memories, the ones that matter to me. So whenever I think of Stephen in that golden summer, with the birds sung by my ear and the sun embracing my skin, I end up thinking about that boy too. It feels so warm, so idyllic, like that part of my life played out on the silver screen. That boy never fits. I find him with his hand in the air. I'm sitting, I believe, at the edge of the room, watching quietly as the same series of events unfolds, time after time. He's got a photographic memory, and a pace for it. How do you know that? One of the boys likely says as he shoves him in the back. You're so weird, like a robot. Bet he's got a computer for a brain, it makes sense. The boy whose hand never falls feels someone else's pushed against him. Bet he's made of metal too. You made a metal robot, boy? I don't know why, but I never intervene, not straight away. Neither does the teacher. We both see it happening, but the lesson carries on as long as we think we can go, before we have to acknowledge it. There's a knot in my stomach by then, like it's wincing on behalf of my heart. Every time it just seems like background noise. The rest of the class pays full attention, and the boy with the photographic memory never stops. For every question, he has an answer, and he takes another jibe, or background noise. I start to wonder if he is made of metal. I start to hope he is. There was a letter. What was the letter? I'm arguing with Stephen in the cabin, but we never argue. I never remember us arguing. This must be new. It doesn't have a ring. Where did I put this? Where did I find this? We both love psychology. It's child psychology. That was why I was at Zach's. I was doing placement for a child psychology course. Stephen always preferred the clinical side. What if he has dementia, I asked him? I have no idea about who. Dementia's not a disease. It's a part of a disease, multiple diseases. Well, what does it matter, Stephen? You know what I mean. How can I? You don't know what you mean. You can't know something for what it isn't, sweetheart. If you do, what's the point in knowing anything at all? He had this weird thing for specifics. It made him pedantic when he was angry or upset, and he became an arse as a result. I ended up screaming about how I didn't care, about how nobody cared, about how he was wasting his time. It sent him reeling from me until it was time to sleep, and then we fucked for hours. Neither of us wanted the night to end like that. My mother's funeral comes back to me as little as it always does. The plastic egg, the polite nothings of conversation, the rolling fog. There's nothing beyond the rolling fog. If there were trees there before, they're gone now. Gone from my sight. I can barely recall the shape of a tree these days, maybe general impression of colour. Are they pine or oak? A voice asks. I hear something high-pitched, like a needle in my ear. What does that mean? Does it matter? They were trees, weren't they? All the trees were the same. They were just trees beyond the fog. There must have been trees. Why am I crying over goddamn trees? I just want there to be some fucking trees. I'm crying, but I see their face and it looks numb, mute even. Are they made of iron? Do they only sing when they're struck? That ringing sound stays in my ear. They've been struck, and the ghost of their song is trapped in me. There's a scar on my pride for every tear I lose, because of reasons I don't possess, no longer possess. I can't place myself before now. The reason's gone. I must have put it with the trees. Do they know where the trees went? Excuse me, I ask. The iron twists into a smile that scratches over its surface. Where is it, sweetheart? Do you know where the trees went? The scratching gets worse. The iron threatens to crack, but it can't. We can't afford it. You know something, don't you, I ask? Something about me. You've got a very knowing face, a kind face, but it's sad, too. Oh, I'm not sad, darling. I'm just remembering something. And that makes you sad? A chuckle slips out. He looks at me as if he shouldn't be surprised. It's a familiar smile, but I can't place it. Yeah, I guess it does make me a little sad, but that's alright. It's worth getting sad sometimes. It's important. It's only